Good morning, my fellow yogic travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too, as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, and live the life we love. Well, it's my story day, and a lot of people don't know about my early experiences in the magic monastery, but this was one of them. So I went on retreat, and the moment I walked in the door, the headmaster said, "Why not?" He'd never seen me before, and yet he had me. Why not? So I brought up my excuses. Well, my wife, kids, the business, people I work with, I don't have enough time, my temperament. Wait, okay, he stopped me. There was a sword hanging on the wall. He took it down. He handed it to me, says, "With this, you can cut through any barriers." I went back to my guest room. I looked at the sword. I meditated on it. And then the next morning, I went back and gave him the sword back without saying a word because I knew I wasn't ready yet to live without my excuses. All right, my friends. Journaling question for today to elevate the conversation. If you don't write this down, talk to people about it or mull it over in your own head. Or, of course, when you reply to me, I always reply back. If you were 10 times bolder than you are currently right now, how would you act differently in your primary relationships, in your work relationship, with your family, in your place of worship, in your community? How differently would you show up? 10 times bolder. Let me know. All right. I continue to talk about the importance of what clutter is. Your vitality level soars every time you finish a piece of unfinished business. Every time you complete unfinished business, your vitality level soars. It reminds me like when you go in the refrigerator, there's some food in there, you see it there, you know you're not going to eat it, so you just leave it there. And every time you open it, you wonder, like, should I throw it out? No, you just leave it there. It's that kind of stuff. Just a little piece, one chunk, just do a little bit, and you'll see your vitality level soars just by completing that one little unfinished task. Now, I always appeal to my yoga friends out there. That's my first metaphor because I feel the most authentic experiences I can share is that I want to stay in my own field. And I remember the first time I went to India, I was eager to learn, but I was afraid of the kind of ridicule that might happen if I was brought out in front of the group and my poses were chopped apart. But I was bewildered when I met Mr. Iyengar with a combination of both his arrogance, his ferocity, but his unbelievable mastery and artistry in teaching about asana and pranayama, the body postures and the breath regulations. And though I had to work really hard in class, when I left, my body felt light and my spirit felt free and buoyant. So I asked my yoga practitioners, poses of the variety of spice of life, which poses do you get the most out of? I get the most out of the inversions. Okay, I love all that feeling in the brain chemistry when I turn upside down. All right, for my mythological friends out there, we're supposed to open our eyes to see the magnificence of the world, to see the world in a different way. And I've always understood Joseph Campbell's pointing out the elementary ideas that show the same images and themes constantly recurring as they appear in different costumes, geographical locations, time periods. They're interpreted as folk or ethnic narratives, which normally, if we compare them, we separate ourselves by how different they are. But from my point of view, I insist on the elementary aspect that's the same. And once you recognize it in one form, you can see it in all forms. Now, for my psychological friends, the self with a capital S is sometimes called the totality of all potential, totality of the psyche. It's able to reconcile all opposites. That's why it's the organ of acceptance par excellence, which means the dark and the light are held in perfect balance there. But if we're damaged in some way, then it's like we're in the desert. We can't find the source of the life-giving water. And that leads us to feel alienated, rejected, as if life is too severe to be endured. But this alienation is a prelude to self-realization, to the attempts that we make to find ourselves. And because of its all-encompassing nature, it blends the darker and lighter aspects of our ego and confronts us with problems we would rather avoid, but that's how we grow. So I'll give you a little tip. If you want to understand the maze of your own thinking, get rid of the idea of fairness. Fairness puts life on hold. Everybody's looking for a snapshot of how perfect things could be. But that doesn't exist. So search your heart and hold nothing back. The world is really there to help you anytime you call upon it intelligently, and there's a multitude of ways that it responds. I believe it will come in the most appropriate way to what your need is. So just be quiet, physically and mentally, for a little bit, and then call on it to do what it knows how to do. Using your willpower won't do it, because your willpower is only yourself. So a part of you can't, but spirit can. So I leave you my little affirmation for today. I intentionally attract to myself all things that make up my vision. I intentionally attract to myself all things that make up my vision. I'm on vacation now for a week or two. I'll get back to you the morning of the election. Have a great life till then.